with us, attorneys Jennifer Wells, Kirk Nurmi. Jennifer, let me start with you. When you hear these descriptions, a loving father, he was a Tampa policeman, he couldn't always use his hands, so he might not be able to shoot a gun, coming from his own children. Who do you think those facts will be favorable to, if they will be favorable?
I mean, I really think that they're a wash here. I mean, I think the facts are, and I don't think the defendant denies shooting Mr. Olson in this case. So I think that they're really meant to play to the sympathies of the judge, probably for, I mean, as I recall here, it's for purposes of bond and for other things to be considered. I can't imagine that this is going to be relevant testimony at the trial of this case. I mean, obviously, I think that, again, I think I said previously, he's got a pretty robust defense team. Perhaps they're hoping that some of this will have remained with some of the members of the jury pool. But outside of that, I just can't see how any of this is going to be relevant at trial.
All right, tell us about that, Kirk. Why are you allowed to introduce the character of the defendant when it's a good character according to witnesses who did testify at that 2017 hearing?
Well, like it was just said, I believe this was at a bond hearing, and you could advance that good character if you're the defense. But the problem for the defense in that situation, Ashley, is I believe that there's reports of other incidents and Mr. Reeves confronting people at movie theaters, following a woman into the restroom. There's reports of another man being told to shut up, things of that nature. So if they go that direction, or they're probably not going to want to go that direction, I should say, because then all that other evidence would come in. And so the character here might not be so good for the defense.
Talking about evidence that can come in, Jennifer, I've had some viewers say, I don't understand why that interview between the police officer and the defendant that was done shortly after the time of the incident would come in as, as an audio for the jury to listen to. Talk to us a little bit about those rules of evidence and how prosecution could use that as evidence if they choose to.
Right. I mean, and I think it's a statement of a party opponent. Any statement of the defendant is fair game so long as it's lawfully gotten by law enforcement, so long as he's either not in custody or was in custody and given his Miranda warnings and made statements, then the prosecution can take those statements and make the decision whether they do or do not want to use them. Having heard portions of that, I'm not sure when I've heard that I would want to use it, but I'd want to hear all of it first. So I think that obviously the prosecution team is going to have to make some decisions about whether or not they want to use it, but it's absolutely fair game as it was taken, as far as I'm aware, because it was taken lawfully. And it's again, I have not heard pretrial motions to say anything other than it was a lawful statement, where he makes some admissions. He admits to shooting this guy, but he also makes some statements that maybe, as the state, you wouldn't want to have in. You'd want the defense to force him onto the stand and say those things live in the courtroom where you have an opportunity to cross-examine him. So a lot of times it's a strategic decision as to whether or not you're going to put that defendant's statement in.
And you always think with stand your ground, are you going to hear from the defendant? And I would think objectively, yes, because if they're going to say I was standing my ground, I was reasonably in fear of my life, that they would need to say that in their own words to the jury. Of course, that's a decision for the defense and for the defendant himself to make. So we'll have to watch that trial. We are going to cover it live here on Court TV once opening statements begin. We don't know if that will be tomorrow or Monday, but we will bring them to you from here. You are both going to stay with me. Amir Luck, you may have heard about this young man who was shot and killed by police when they raided an apartment based on a warrant, but it was a no-knock warrant. As a